is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today. You know, Dean Ambrose's name has been popping up all over the place as he is amongst a few names that are looking to come back to the WWE after being out for a lengthy period of injury. And how should the WWE bring Dean Ambrose back to television? We're going to tell you how right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean, baby. Oh, you love it in your ears, don't you? It's the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it. It's going to be fun.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is the greatest team any man could have, the Wrestling God of Thunder, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, my little buddy, most trusted companion, and the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in the whole entire universe, Blue the Snowball. Thank you guys for checking out the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show today. You know, we don't usually do shows like this, and that's not because I don't want to. It's just because I don't usually have the time to do so, but I have a little bit more free time on my hands, and I am going to bring to you guys a genius idea that I had. You know, hearing Dean Ambrose popping up all over the place, like I said in the intro, I couldn't help but sit and think, man, how are they going to ruin this? And automatically, everybody that you listen to, everybody's talking about Dean Ambrose coming back to Monday Night Raw. Maybe he's going to be a heel Dean Ambrose. You could insert him back into his feud with Seth Rollins, as Seth is still the Intercontinental Champion, and we can go back to where we were in 2016 when that was actually slightly compelling television. But I don't want to go back. I want new. I want fresh. I want different. Dean Ambrose going to Monday Night Raw offers none of those things. Plus, look at what Monday Night Raw's got going on already. Look at the talent that's already on Monday Night Raw. Not that they use them any good, but look at who they got there. You got Ziggler, McIntyre, Owens, Boring Trashley, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman. Who am I leaving out? There's tons that I'm leaving out. Because there's just so many names. You could literally name anybody, and they are probably more worthy of a push than a Dean Ambrose upon his return. Elias! There's another one. There's a whole bunch of things going on Monday Night Raw right now that bringing the Lunatic Fringe to the Red brand is only going to complicate and muddy things up even more. And I don't want him back on the same show with the Shield guys so that we can keep having that, oh, will the Shield get together? Won't the Shield get together? There's always a time and a place for the Shield, and they don't always have to be on the same show. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in this episode, as I have gotten my idea for the return of Dean Ambrose. I want to share this with you. I also want to know what you think about my idea, and don't just come at me with your negativity and tell me you think my idea is shit. If you want to come at me like that, come at me with at least something constructive of your own. Tell me how you would bring Dean Ambrose back to the WWE if it's not this exact idea that I'm about to propose to you and to the WWE. You know, I intend to tag Dean Ambrose in this post as I put it up, so hopefully his eyeballs will get on this video. Not that he's going to watch some little show like us, right? He's got way too much going on in his life to worry about the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. But if he happens to watch us, this is here for you, bro. Take this, run with it, bring it to the brass, bring it to Vince. Hopefully, they see the value in it as I do. Because the first step in Dean Ambrose's return is to bring him back to Smackdown Live. He was the number one draft pick amongst the brand split. Shane definitely wanted the World Heavyweight Championship. It was around the waist of Dean Ambrose, so he was technically the first superstar ever on Smackdown Live. Dean Ambrose always felt like a natural fit to me on SmackDown Live. He just felt better. That happens a lot of times because everybody that goes to Monday Night Raw just feels like garbage. But Dean Ambrose on SmackDown is a natural fit. It just works better. He seems like he's part of the presentation. Maybe it's because he was there since day one. I don't know why they took him off and put him back on Monday Night Raw just to do a Shield reunion, which was absolute bullshit. And there was no need for them to be on the same brand in order to do that. But Dean Ambrose on SmackDown is the key. And where Dean Ambrose will make his return, I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, right before we get into the semantics of it, we have booked the pay-per-views from Extreme Rules leading up into next year's WrestleMania, and that's it. We're not talking about, all the Raws and SmackDowns in between, every little thing. I have a basic guideline of how I would run this thing, starting from Extreme Rules, where Dean Ambrose makes his return to bail out the Usos after they get their asses handed to them by Sanity at Extreme Rules, which looks like it's going to happen already with what they're doing on Smackdown Live television. And Ambrose will come out to make the save to his old buds, the Usos, making a return to the blue brand and standing against a team that is full of Dean Ambroses, which is Sanity, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young. Now, this will lead on their way to SummerSlam to one of the WWE's favorite things in the world to do, a 6-man tag where you have Sanity versus Ambrose and the Usos. Throughout the entirety of this matchup, you have the Usos and Ambrose well in control of things, but Ambrose never gets involved in the action until the final segment. He's waiting the whole time for the hot tag, as you could have after the Usos and Ambrose dominate the beginning of the match. You have Sanity just work the Uso brothers, building towards that hot tag, where Ambrose takes the tag and ends up turning on the Usos, giving Sanity the win at SummerSlam and joining the faction. You're crazy, you're probably thinking right now. Ambrose don't need Sanity, Sanity don't need Ambrose. Well, I say you're crazy. Dean Ambrose is Sanity. It's a perfect fit. The Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose and the Asylum, everything that he was bringing to the WWE before Sanity even existed in NXT. Dean Ambrose is a one-man Sanity, so it would be a natural fit for him to go and join them. It would be great for him to do that, and another reason for that would be to change up his look. You can change him up. You make him a little bit more dirty. Maybe let him wear some eyeliner or some shit. Change up the outfit. Stop with the wife beater and the jeans. Change it up. Become part of Sanity. But you can't just call them Sanity still and just add Dean Ambrose. You have to evolve it. You have to take it to the next level. So change the name a little bit. Call it the Asylum. Call it Insanity. Call it the Asylum of Sanity. Be creative. Have fun with it. This angle is going to get Sanity right to the upper mid-card level where they need to be. They're going to be able to play off a WWE superstar that has proven his mettle. He is a former champion. He was part of one of the greatest factions of all time. Why wouldn't Eric Young want him to come into the fold? You bring a member of the Shield into Sanity? It would make perfect sense, as Eric Young still fancies himself as the leader of Sanity upon all of this happening. His lunatic character would fit the group perfectly, and they take over Smackdown Live on a weekly basis, causing chaos at every single turn. You have 2 pay-per-views from SummerSlam into Survivor Series, which are Hell in a Cell and TLC. It doesn't matter how you do it, but across those 2 pay-per-views, you have the faction of Sanity end up finding themselves with all the gold. You have Dean Ambrose as the WWE champion, you have Eric Young as the United States champion, and you give Dane and Wolf the tag team championships, and on we go. Now they are running shit on SmackDown Live. They are making everybody's lives miserable. Paige just can't take any more. We are coming up to Survivor Series, and she pulls together 4 of her top superstars. She gets the Usos, who might just be coming back after selling an attack from Sanity after a long period of time. You have them coming back looking for revenge. And then she recruits her top 2 guys. You get Daniel Bryan, and maybe you get a Rusev. And now you have Team SmackDown versus Sanity. You don't need this interbrand bullshit anymore, since every since every pay-per-view is cross-branded, it don't matter anymore. Doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to go that route. You have a much more meaningful Survivor Series style 4-on-4 between Sanity and Ambrose versus Team Smackdown, in which Sanity will win the match. But one person from that team will be eliminated, and then that will be Eric Young. This is a key point in the story, and it must happen. Sanity will be victorious overall. Eric Young will be eliminated from the match before it is over, and the new Sanity, whatever you want to call them, gets the win at Survivor Series. But Eric Young gets pinned and loses for the first time. This will now lead to some tension within the group. Maybe you have Ambrose and the other two kind of tease Eric Young for being the only guy that wasn't strong enough to get to the top. You could see the frustration starting in Eric Young as he's not very comfortable with the situation, but he understands, because Dean is the World Heavyweight Champion and the faction's doing better than it's ever done before, and he kind of keeps his place and he kind of stands in line for a little while. Because in between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble in December, there is the Clash of Champions, where you will have 2 championship matches for Smackdown Live. The United States Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship will both be defended. Dean Ambrose will win his match, which you could put literally against anybody. Styles, Bryan, it doesn't really matter. It's interchangeable at this point. You just want to get it on whoever you are going to have in the main event at WrestleMania. This is where you begin that story for the heavyweight championship, so now you can get it off Dean Ambrose eventually at the Royal Rumble. I jumped ahead a little bit, but this night Eric Young will lose the United States Championship cleanly to somebody in the mid-card like a Rusev. Hopefully it'll be a happy Rusev day for Rusev, but it won't be for Eric Young, as he will lose the title. Dean Ambrose at the Clash of Champions retains his championship thanks to the help of Sanity. Sanity will not come out and help Eric Young in his loss, but they will have been there to help Dean Ambrose gain the advantage. This will send Eric Young, following the Clash of Champions, into an absolute tailspin. He wants his team back. Sanity was his. This group was his. They let this guy from the Shield come in and just take over. That wasn't part of EY's plan. He needs to eliminate Dean Ambrose, so he gets Sanity back. And when we get to the Royal Rumble, Dean Ambrose once again is defending the heavyweight championship, and on this night he will lose thanks to Sanity. Sanity will turn on Ambrose, kicking him out of the faction. After the Royal Rumble, you have the Elimination Chamber, and I believe one more pay-per-view. At the Elimination Chamber, Dean Ambrose is going to want his revenge. Now you can pull the Shield back together for one night only. For one night only, and you leave everybody on all their brands, and you have Roman and Seth join up with Dean to take on this crazy-ass team of Sanity at the Elimination Chamber. Not in the Elimination Chamber, but at the Elimination Chamber, and Sanity must win at all costs. Dean Ambrose must look like he cannot overcome these odds, even with his 2 most trusted and most loyal friends at his side. The most dominant faction in WWE history could not take out Sanity as a trio. So now that leads you into this story going to WrestleMania, where Dean Ambrose needs his vengeance. He needs to get his hands on Eric Young at whatever the pay-per-view is right before WrestleMania. It used to be No Way Out. I forget whatever they're calling it nowadays, and I don't have it written here like a jackass. I forgot to look it up. But there you have maybe Dean Ambrose go up against the tag team of Dane and Young, handicap style, and he finally wins. Maybe it's due to disqualification, and he earns a match against Eric Young at WrestleMania. You add a stipulation of a false count anywhere, maybe a steel cage, to end the story between the two once and for all, giving finality to the whole entire story that has just run its course for the last 6 to 8 months. And at WrestleMania in New York, Dean Ambrose beats Eric Young clean without the involvement of Sanity. Maybe they're barred from their involvement. They're barred from ringside. They can be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and then they can go on and leave the arena that night because they will be barred from ringside. This way it's a one-on-one. 2 of the craziest sons of bitches you will ever see in a Falls Count Anywhere match at WrestleMania in New York City as the final end stop during this. Look at how fired up I'm getting. Because if this is how they did TV, if this is how they built it up, it would be worth watching. Eric Young and Dean Ambrose will complement each other fantastically. Eric Young is very underrated. He is a fantastic wrestler. He will bring Dean Ambrose to a great match and vice versa. And then you want to add all this history. Faction turns. What do you call it? A mutiny within Sanity. Only for Eric Young to finally regain control. They remain the heels throughout the whole thing. Dean Ambrose can come back to the good side. Then imagine he comes out at WrestleMania to his original song. The song he's been coming out to. Now you put the wife beater back on and the jeans. Everybody's going to be all hyped up. It's the old Dean Ambrose. He's back. I just wrote it out for you guys. It's perfect. It's perfect. And it would make sense. All the pieces fit together. It's something that I would love to see happen in the near future on Smackdown Live. That's what I got, you guys. That is from Extreme Rules to WrestleMania. Because you can't just say, oh, I have an idea, Ambrose can join Sanity, and then just leave it at that. I wanted to really think it through and see how if I was put in this situation and they came to me and said, this is the idea, how would you do it? That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. There's more than enough time in between all the major events that you will get all your beats at the proper time. You can, every week on SmackDown Live, build the tension between Ambrose and EY from the very beginning. But you give it a slow burn all the way leading up into that final eventual turn at the Royal Rumble for Eric Young where they kick Ambrose out. Now Ambrose is back to being cheered. He reforms the Shield for one night at a big deal pay-per-view like the Elimination Chamber. It's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. I think about it, I give myself goosebumps because that would be great. You can't tell me Dean Ambrose isn't a World Heavyweight Champion. As I said at the start of the show, he was the first SmackDown Live World Heavyweight Champion after the brand split. He was the number one pick. He was legit. They ruined him. I don't know if that had to do with his injuries or whatever, but we saw some great stuff from Dean Ambrose as the World Heavyweight Champion. Ambrose and Ziggler were doing some great shit. Ambrose had some great matches with AJ Styles. Ambrose is a fantastic wrestler. He deserves to be highlighted in his own thing away from the Shield. Don't just go back on your laurels. Don't go back to what we were doing, because what we were doing got us here. And where we are now is in fucking shitstorm land. Absolute shitstorm land. I don't know how else to put it. But I think that is a great idea. Like I said, let me know what you guys would do with Dean Ambrose upon his return if you think my idea ain't that great. Maybe you're such a big fan of Sanity that you don't want him involved in the Sanity group, but I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. You could even go one step further with the whole thing right at the beginning as the Usos are still involved. You can have Nikki Cross come out and get involved. And then you have Naomi come out and even the odds. And now you have them have a little sub-feud between the women. You could interchange them within matches. You can do your mixed tags and all the stupid things that WWE needs to do, only it'll actually be interesting. Because it'll be Sanity with Nikki Cross versus the Usos and Naomi. I would be interested in that. Naomi's fantastic in the ring. Nikki Cross, underrated beyond belief. I think it would be great television. You know, there's a lot of other things that we didn't really work out, like what do you do with some of the other tag teams? You're going to sacrifice the Bludgeon Brothers. Who's going to be involved in the United States Championship picture at the time? Does it matter? Does it matter if they pull the trigger on all the things that we discussed tonight? SmackDown Live will be one of the best wrestling shows on television. And that's just based on the storyline. If the matches don't deliver, that's on them. But as long as we get what I think they can bring to the ring, I know they can deliver on this. Both of them. On the mic, in the ring, EY and Dean Ambrose will be bona fide superstars and household names, if not already, at least in Dean Ambrose's case, by the time is all said and done. And that's my idea, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this little op-ed piece, this little editorial, opinionated thing. Let me know if you enjoyed it so I can keep bringing you guys more. I can tell the WWE how to do a lot of things. we're going to start with this one, and this is exactly how the WWE should bring back Dean Ambrose. Should we give this show its own title? Should we call it How? Maybe we'll just call it How. And then every time I do it, I go, how? And I tell you guys what we're going to explain tonight. I don't know. I'm just fishing for ideas. You guys let me know what you think. Maybe you give it a different show. Maybe we can call it Let's Talk About. Let's talk about how we can do this or that. Because you and I can do it better than the trained monkeys, or the untrained monkeys as it seems, that run WWE Creative right now. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. With us, as always, is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean. Baby, take it like you mean it. And if you're listening on any of those audio platforms, make sure you join the rest of us here at youtube.com/Sledgehammer TV. Subscribe right now as we continue the SummerSlam drive to 1K. We are trying to get to that 1,000 mark, and then once we hit that, it's 100K or bust, and it all starts with you. I have the most awesome and amazing, intelligent, funny wrestling fans as part of the Sledgehammer Club, and if you are any of those things, and you want to become part of the most prestigious club on YouTube, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button right now. Take your sledgehammers at home and bash that thumbs up. Make sure it swells up nice and blue so that it's lit up for the world to see, to show your approval of Sledgehammer TV and to let me know to keep bringing you guys the absolute best in professional wrestling coverage, like our coverage on the passing of Big Van Vader, a man that was so big and such a huge favorite in my life that he's got 2 tributes on this channel. That's right, 2. Go check them out right now. They will be linked in the annotation in the upper right hand corner of your screen. If you're not interested, maybe you aren't a fan of Vader, which is absolutely ridiculous, there's a whole lot more to check out on this channel. We have Raw and Smackdown reviews from last week. We got the Raw review going up in just a couple of hours tonight after we have to sit through that piece of garbage. We're going to have Smackdown Live this week. We talked about Vince McMahon getting a strong hold on Madison Square Garden and blocking out Ring of Honor. That's live on the channel right now. The whole situation with Big Cass, we laid that out. And coming this weekend, the June episode of the Subscription Box Showdown. That Wrestling Club versus WrestleCrate. I am sorry. Go head-to-head for the first time for this piece of hardware that Seth Rollins is very nicely holding for us right now. I'm not going to take it down, because if you want to see it up close and in its shiny, beautiful fucking glory, it looks absolutely fantastic on camera, you're going to have to check out the Subscription Box Showdown this weekend. See who wins the title in its debut edition. That belt is fucking awesome. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I want to know what you guys think about it. So make sure you are here for the Subscription Box Showdown coming this weekend to Sledgehammer TV. Everything else you need in all of professional wrestling, this is your home for it. Thank you all so very, very much. Once again, if I haven't thanked you enough to make your ears bleed by now, that is going to do it, everybody, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thank you very much. See you later on tonight for Monday Night Raw.